Three, two, one. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another episode of Somehow You Didn't Die on Your Way to Work, a transit industry safety podcast. I am not Zach Lybrand.
I'm not Joseph Zeta.
Zeta, but yes.
Zeta, damn it! I always fuck this up, dude.
So does everybody
I'm a dumb
else.
American that reads phonetically.
So does everybody else. I think it's Iranian where it's originated from, even though I'm really not.
You know what? I feel like if you just changed that E to a U, I would get it right every time.
I've never thought of it that way. Most people spell it Zada or Za or Zead or like it's like I've heard so many different weird permutations of it. But yeah, this is our third episode. So far, we've gone for a very long one that hopefully sounds good, a shorter one that sounds like we called in from different oral traditions, and this one, which hopefully sounds better and is not
Slightly more balanced?
and yeah, is slightly more balanced and is not 7 hours long. But it might
Hopefully
be because
it doesn't
there
sound
has
like it's recorded by a couple of chuckle fucks like us.
Also, there's a lot of news, so I say this, it may be a while before we get to the content of the episode. So, to start with the news.
Hogs, do your thing. Soak up the news.
Yes, we have some news, because we did have an extra week between broadcasts because of scheduling availabilities. Yeah. Yeah, I've had this new ACI episode joke as a joke. This one, I mean it. This one, I absolutely 110% mean it. So for those of you listening in the future, it is the 12th of June, 2025. This plane, Air India Flight 171, crashed this morning in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, which is one of those which is a city in India and is one of those places where I've never heard of it, but it has the population of Manhattan. So, and
How big is that city?
it's 10 million. It's 8 million people in the metro area, and 6 million are within city limits. This is like a plane, like a 787 crashing into like Philadelphia after takeoff. Like
That's
is
huge. Holy shit.
I mean this seriously. This is bad. This is a cosmically serious thing. Like, and even better, we have at time of recording, we have no idea why it crashed.
No fucking clue.
So
No clue.
There are three different theories that seem to be the most plausible, and I am willing to believe that they are all wrong. But the top one is that during takeoff roll, before they reached rotation, the airplane ingested enough birds to have a dual engine flame out. But after they passed V1, which is basically the point of no return, if you you try and stop at this point, the plane will go off the runway and you will all be killed. So they tried to get into the air, and then the airplane just simply did not have enough energy to continue on, and crashed. Option number 2, which I think is probably the least likely, except for option number 3, is that the plane suffered because the Boeing 787, this is also the first ever hull loss of a 787.
I'm shocked it took this long.
Honestly, I'm considering how good the safety record for the 777 is, I'm not surprised. These two are like Boeing's apogee of like making good airplanes. That and the 717, but that was a McDonnell Douglas development. But the 787 has never had a hull loss, but it is an entirely fly-by-wire aircraft. Boeing's first. It could have had some sort of catastrophic catastrophic blue screen incident, which is really unlikely considering the amount of redundancy, but who can say?
Well, I'm curious to see what comes out of this, what the Indian version of the FAA comes to find. Because I would find it hilarious if all the theories currently being posited are completely wrong, and it's just like the pilot had a really shitty day and figured this was the way to go.
that is option number 3, which is that the plane crashed with the landing gear down, and it seems like the okay, people are are making a lot of claims off of the blurry CCTV footage and cell phone videos that we have of the plane falling, and it seems like maybe, although this is unclear because of how the wing on the 787 is designed, that the flaps might have been retracted. And so the theory is that maybe the wheels, they called for wheels up, and the guy just pulled the flaps handle by mistake, despite the fact that they are nowhere near each other. And it sort of is the old hat to anytime it's not a Western country to say that it's pilot error, despite the fact that I think the captain had 11,000 hours in the cockpit.
I did see that.
Yeah, the captain had 11,000 hours, and the co-pilot had 1,100, which is, neither of those are inexperienced guys. These are, and also Air India this isn't like Norse Atlantic Airways where they're only 787s. Air India has enough going on that you don't get to sit in the front of a 787 until you are sufficiently knowledgeable in how it works and how to fly a plane. So if that is what happened, they really, the only way is if the co-pilot was in the middle of having a stroke, and like
it was either this definitely wasn't like a little whoopsie daisy. It was either shit went super wrong and there's nothing that could really be done about it, or somebody was having a really bad day.
Yeah, the only other even remotely plausible one that I could hear is maybe fuel contamination that caused a dual engine flameout. This and the bird strikes theory are the two most credible in my mind because, again, examining blobs on what's it called, on CCTV footage, you can see what looks like the ram air turbine having popped out of the bottom of the airplane, which only happens when there's a complete loss of electrical power, which means that the engines aren't spinning. So something has to have happened. I have no idea what. Boeing is probably shitting themselves inside out right now, although I will say
stock price went down 8% today.
Yeah. I
will think of the shareholders.
I will say, for Boeing, it could have been a lot worse. The 787 has currently been taking a lot of reliability hits because, in an effort to reduce labor costs, they were like, what if we didn't pay union wages? And they moved a lot of the production to South Carolina, a place that has never built airplanes in history and has been doing a really bad job of it, to the point where I think Qatar Airways demanded to never, ever be delivered a South Carolina-built 787 again after they found, like, construction materials inside a fuel tank during pre-delivery inspections.
Ooh.
Or like a ladder or something absolutely outrageous. And that is not... This is not a South Carolina plane. This is the second 787 that was ever delivered to Air India. It was built on the Everett line by people who know what they're doing. So really, it's also one of the older ones. I think it's like 11 years old. So really, I mean, we could say bad maintenance. That again feels like just an easy jab at, haha, India's a third world country. But, like, Air Kenya has 787s. A lot of airlines do. Do you know what they do if the airplanes break? They fly them to Lufthansa Technik in Germany, and they have Lufthansa fix them. It's really hard.
This really is one to wait on the investigation for. There's no clear, obvious answer that's not just also extremely racist.
Yeah, unless there's a video from some dead guy's phone of a bird going into an engine that pops up like tomorrow, we won't know for a long while. Although, the only thing we do have is, if we look at this headline here, there is one survivor.
We ought to ask Mr. 11A if he saw anything.
He did say that he heard bangs just before the end, just as the plane took off, which could be a lot of things. Could be like a compressor stall, could be birds hitting the airplane, could be birds going into the engine, could be a bomb, could be something, could be hackers hacking into the airplane through something. But
damn hackers.
But he obviously did not hear the words "I'm in," so that I don't think is entirely the case. but so then the plane, so we don't know. Fortunately for everyone involved, when the plane did crash, it crashed directly into a hospital, so medical attention was at hand. Unfortunately, it did land.
I missed that part.
Yeah, so this airplane crashed into the complex of buildings that surrounded the central hospital for Ahmedabad. I think this is technically the medical school. This is the medical school across the street, and specifically, it crashed into the cafeteria of the hostel for medical students, which during lunch. So
that's not good.
Medical help was quickly at hand.
It's good and it's not good.
Medical help was quickly at hand for the medical students because there was like 40 or 50 people having lunch in there at the time. We don't know yet how many of them are dead. Last I heard that there were definitely some missing. I don't know. That's still to be determined. But
do you know if if Indian medical students have to do the weird ass like 80-hour on rotations or whatever the fuck it is that U.S. students have to do? Because I can't imagine finally getting to sit down for an actual meal after being on your feet for 3 days straight, and just as you take the first bite of that chicken nugget or whatever cheap shit they serve in the cafeteria, oh nope, more patients right in your face.
Plane crashes through the building. Dr. Heal Thyself becomes a little bit more literal. I don't know about Indian medical students. I do know that India is generally having a rough time with doctors and nurses, because, this is as much as I don't want to say anything too off color, this is a country where female doctors have gotten gang raped in hospitals by other doctors in the past. In the past, I mean like last year, and there are still protests over this. So I don't know what it's like to be an Indian medical student, but I am glad that. But I will say this: I don't want to watch the Tollywood version of The Pit. I really don't. I don't want to see that.
It probably exists already.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I mean,
absolutely.
Whatever the case may be, I hope they don't have shifts like American student doctors, because god damn, nobody deserves that.
My father is a doctor, and so is one of my brothers. I am all too familiar with that.
I am so sorry for what they had to go through. That's just cruel and unusual. Hopefully these guys do a little bit better. Maybe they get a little bit of I was going to say maybe there was a little better response, but that headline doesn't leave much hope for a better response.
Maybe they got a nice nap in like the trauma ward for a bit while they're on a gurney.
That was a great 18 minutes.
But so this is bad. This is like unironically, not joking, the worst aviation accident in a while. I don't have the numbers in front of me especially because we don't know the ground fatalities yet, but this is probably up there with those like African aviation disasters you never hear of, in which like one airplane crashes and 300 people die somehow.
Yeah.
As well as the big ones. This is definitely a big one, in the same way that Malaysia 17 and 370 are, in that this is a modern jetliner that just that ate shit with a full load of people.
It just went, nope, I'm done.
Yeah, and it was such a smooth thing too. Like it did like a perfect parabolic arc, wings level, gear down. If there had been like a field or something instead of a city, they probably would have been fine. But we don't know what happened yet, and we won't for a while.
I'm going to be keeping my eyes open for
Oh.
an investigation report on this one.
Oh yeah, no, so will a lot of people. But yeah, so now that we've gotten 241 people dead out of the way, let's go on to the next thing. Ah, yes, this one.
This makes my head hurt.
So yeah, I don't actually have anything to say about this. This is just some fucking moron who I'm not even going to say his name. Tweeted this, and this is why we should go back in time and stop Twitter from existing.
We have to kill Joseph Twitter and end this right now.
Yeah, we have to.
I mean, what the fuck, Wamaga?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I also like the random "Let's make auto rail great again," which is mentioned.
I was
nowhere near anything else that he has said.
I was really hoping I wasn't like having a stroke or something because I could not figure out the auto rail.
I'm assuming that he mistyped metro rail enough.
It has to be like it autocorrected or something, maybe?
Maybe. I don't understand. But yeah, yeah, I got very little else to say on this one. I just want to point and laugh at how stupid he is.
He's pissed and moaning about $150 million a year in federal funds when, let's do a quick Google check. How much does the U.S. military get 2025? Oh, that's actually not helpful.
Oh, speaking of not helpful, while you look that up, there is another thing that they have, that congressional budget hawks read everybody's least favorite electric car owner, Elon Musk, has recently gone through, which is that they have decided to defund the USCSB because fuck everything, to the tune of $14 million. Which, by the way, if you are,
but we have $850 billion for the Department of Defense.
Yep.
$849.8 billion. Don't come after me. But $150 million, and what'd you say? $114 million?
No, the USCSB is $14 million.
$14 million, just 14.
Yes,
but no, fuck that.
Even just to give you an idea, even the chemical industry lobbying boards are like, wait, no, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. So, I'm sure that the actual chemical companies are like, yes, no oversight. We can bomb West Virginia again.
We could just dump all these barrels straight into the river. Don't worry about shipping them off. We're gonna save millions.
Which actually, in local news where I live, there was yesterday a leak at a black powder or a explosives manufacturing plant in a place south of Columbus. They had sprung a leak in a container of nitric acid, a 50,000 gallon container of it. I think they spilled like 3,000 or 4,000 gallons.
Oh,
which just made this wonderful orange cloud. They had to evacuate like a 30-mile radius or something. Which in that part of the state isn't much.
We almost got a nice little evacuation event here in Texas. What was it? On the 10th of June. UP derailed a train and put 14 cars on the ground.
I heard about that.
I'm not sure how many of those were hazmats, but several were. And that was, in terms of Texas, that was practically right next door to me down in Waxahachie. And
I meant to message you.
Right in the middle of downtown. Yeah.
I also meant to message you. I'm watching the news over lunch. Is Houston and San Antonio okay with this rain?
I don't know. Are they flooding? I haven't looked.
Apparently so.
Oh, God. Well, fuck. I mean, San Antonio's got the river walk. They can just divert all the water to the river and it flows out. Houston has the ocean. They should be okay.
Yeah, so
Famously, nothing has ever flooded near a large body of water.
no, never.
Don't look at New Orleans. Don't listen to them.
Well,
It didn't happen.
New Orleans is like the Dutch in that they yearn to become a body of water. They just don't know it yet. So
They'll get there one of these days.
Mm-hmm.
Global warming is working.
Yes. Well, I mean, working to wipe out the Dutch, yes. I didn't tell you about this. I was flying home from a wedding in New York over the weekend, and Delta Airlines managed to cancel my flight both ways. And so I had to be reaccommodated twice, which none of this is important, but I did go from Cleveland to New York JFK and from JFK to Cleveland via LaGuardia Airport both times. That was impressive, but on my way
That's silly.
On my way back at the desk to be reaccommodated, I was at the back of the line behind about 100 people all coming from the same delayed Amsterdam flight, and I was like, I am becoming increasingly more racist against the Dutch man in front of me who was going
That's where it always happens.
Which, by the way, I was in the Sky Priority line, so he's like in first class, obviously. He is wearing the sweater around your neck sort of thing that like I thought was fake.
Hang him.
Hang
him.
I thought was fake. And like, but he was going to Memphis. I hope he has a terrible time. Or no, Memphis.
Why the fuck would anybody go from Amsterdam to Memphis?
Or Nashville. Nashville he might have been going to.
Or Nashville.
I don't know what this one Dutch man is going to. Fuck him.
You just wait until he gets to, like, the peak of his abuse at the poor Delta Airlines customer service agent, and then you just reach up, cross your arms in front of his neck, grab the ends of those sleeves, and just yank them back as hard as you can. And once he has finally stopped yelling and struggling, and he just takes a little sleep, not the big sleep, just a little sleep, just set him off to the side. You go up to that customer service agent and say, I'm so sorry. I know that was horrendous.
Yeah.
I need some help. I want to be a good customer for you. What can we do together?
Yes.
And bam, you want first class for the rest of your life?
Yeah. Oh, but do you know what's even better is that was not my only encounter with this guy, because Delta, I guess, reaccommodated both of us out of LaGuardia the next day. So they gave me a hotel at LaGuardia Airport, so they had to call me a car, like a car service, which is just a guy who drives for Lyft but has like a dispatcher, I guess. But this guy tried to take my car because he thought it because
No.
Oh no, the
No.
Lyft
Come here,
driver.
Dutchie.
The Lyft driver was like squaring up with him. That was hilarious. Like this little Indian man was just like, "No,
yeah.
you are not Joseph. You are not Joseph." So I got in that Toyota Camry and slammed the door in his face, and we drove off. So
that is so satisfying. That's amazing.
It took me 20 minutes to get checked in, and he didn't show up. So I don't know how long it took him to get there.
Oof. Somebody didn't get a ride scheduled for him because he was being a dick.
I don't even know if he was being a dick, but I was just like, if Amsterdam could flood into the sea, that'd be great right now. I wouldn't be in this predicament.
How many times did the customer service agent pinch that area there at the bridge of
I don't know, because I was too busy at that point being told by my own customer service rep that because my flight had been delayed due to weather, note there was no weather, that it was being canceled due to weather that didn't exist. I was not eligible for a hotel voucher, and I was like, no, you have to get me your supervisor. I did not choose to stay in New York City another night. And the supervisor came down and actually had a conversation with this guy and was like, that seemed really like, what are you doing? Give him a hotel room. And I got a hotel room. So yeah, that was my weekend, spending a lot of time to go to the far off. I actually could have driven there faster both ways. Next time I probably will. If you work for Endeavor Airlines, by the way, I hate you. This is all your fault.
And you said you were going from Cleveland to New York?
Yes.
Wasn't that on the 20th Century Limited route?
Yes, I could have taken... Amtrak wanted $1,800.
Return!
Amtrak,
oh my God, how much?
Amtrak wanted, I think, $800 each way for a room.
For a room, that explains it.
It's also I wasn't. It's a whole thing. I had to rent a car when I went to New York because this wedding was in Long Island, and there's no ability to get around Long Island. My poor Turo man, who was dropping the car off to me, had to be up till 2:00 in the morning to pick me up from LaGuardia. Because he was like, I'm tired, I'll just get an Uber and I'll reimburse you. And I sent him screenshots of Uber and Lyft, and that would have been more than his profit for the entire weekend. Off of
no
me.
Shit.
It was 100 to go from LaGuardia to JFK in a Lyft at 1:30 a.m. on Saturday was $130 because he lived next door to JFK.
Oof.
So he hauled his ass out of bed.
He gets that. He gets that surcharge every time.
Oh yeah, no, it's terrible. Don't live in New York City. Don't. Like, live somewhere else.
Wait.
Live in.
Why were you looking at a room
for Amtrak?
Yeah, were you gonna go on the Lakeshore Limited?
Probably. I'm not doing coach seats. I've done coach seats on Amtrak. Never again.
5:50 a.m. to 6:42. You'll be all right. Go sit in the lounge car for a while.
Maybe.
You don't need a room. I'm judging you so hard right now. I hope you're ready.
Oh, sure. Are we going to the next one?
I suppose so.
I'm sorry. What am I being judged for wanting a room on Amtrak?
On a 13-hour trip that's during the day? Yes.
Oh. Yeah, but do you know when it gets to my house, when it gets to my station? 4:00 in the morning. I'm not going to be able to sleep. I can barely... It's 4 a.m. in Sandusky.
Oh, you're at Sandusky? Oh, I was looking at Cleveland.
It's 4 a.m.
Maybe that would be better.
And that's implying that it's on time, which means that then I'd be up at 3 to drive to the train station to wait around for this stupid fucking thing. I have been got by Amtrak before.
Oh, so have I. My honeymoon was an adventure. Flagstaff to LA in the middle of a snowstorm was wild.
Oh, Jesus. We could keep going like this for a while, but we need to go on to the next one. Oh, that was
let's go. Fight.
That was such a faster animation than I was anticipating.
Yeah, slow that shit down. There you go.
There it is.
All right, so Slap Fight of the Century is on. Which side are you on? Guess what? You lose no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is just basically, if you want to just go off about this, I have not been following as closely in the last couple of days.
I only know the broad strokes of it, but I don't even remember what started it, but Trump and his #1 fanboy, Elon Musk, had some kind of spat, and it culminated with Elon Musk basically making a tweet that says something along the lines of Trump is in the Epstein files, and that stirred up a holy shitstorm. They've been basically slap fighting back and forth. Neither one of them really has the power to do anything directly to each other, but they can hurt each other's public image. So it's just been a whole bunch of "nuh-uh, you're a doofus, nuh-uh, you're an idiot" back and forth for a couple of days now, and I think it's starting to wrap up today-ish, the 12th.
Yeah.
Musk has apologized for saying that Trump is mentioned in the Epstein files and is seemingly tucking his tail and running. I don't know what finally got into his head, but
probably his employees, because I seem to remember you seem to have all of the bits that I didn't know. So Elon was pissed that the big beautiful bill was not cutting enough, and Trump in his typical manner was like, "Nah, what if maybe it'll be easier if I just cut all of your subsidies." And Elon's first
he did call for Tesla subsidies to be cut.
And Elon's first clapback,
and SpaceX.
Yeah, Elon's first clapback was, "We're going to just decommission all of the Dragon spacecraft immediately," which I
Hell
suppose
yeah.
I suppose that his managers at SpaceX were probably like, if you do this, I'm going to shove the rocket up your asshole or something like that.
I mean, it would be a better use of the rocket because what they're doing right now is they're launching off of what should be protected land along the Texas coast, and they're just completely destroying that area. And they are even encroaching upon neighboring properties
Oh yeah, no, I've
with
read about that.
no
Yeah.
request or compensation or anything. Hilariously, if you know the game Cards Against Humanity,
Yeah.
the creators of that bought a lot of land adjacent to the SpaceX lot so that they could sue SpaceX for putting construction materials on the Cards Against Humanity property. And if you bought a certain pack, you bought into that as a part owner of said property, and you're helping fund the lawsuit, which I think is fucking hilarious.
It absolutely is that, like, I always love it when like Cards Against Humanity and The Onion get into lawsuits, because then you just get to read like the stupidest name that they came up with. Like I think The Onion's technically global tetrahedron right now. So
Yeah, I heard about that.
global
Cards Against
tetrahedron.
Humanity also has the land along the border so that
Yeah.
Trump can't build a fence or
Yeah.
build the wall, but that was from his last presidency.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that one too, but it's always so fucking stupid. But yeah, moving back from
It's
stupid to different stupid then, if we don't have anything else to say about this. Do we have anything else to say about
mm,
this? Other
I got I think I'm putting an even wager on either one of them winning, quote unquote. Because I
I
feel like if I bet on just one, I'm gonna lose
yeah.
horribly.
Yeah, I can see that. So
High school slap fight. Here we go.
mhm. Yep.
All right.
Next one. In From Stupid to Stupid.
God damn it!
This
Oh,
is
this one pissed me off.
this one is just absolutely baffling. So basically, they want to amend part of the part. Okay, it's DOT and Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, so FMCSA and Department of Transportation (DOT) want to amend, or the FMCSA wants to amend DOT regulations about protected vehicles stopping at railroad crossings, which is that, so like currently, and has been since 1938 on the books, that school buses have to stop at railroad crossings to look both ways and see what's happening. And then the and then this is also true for hazmat trucks. This is also
Hmm.
true for a couple of other things that I'm not certain about. But basically, it stop, look, and listen. Unless with there's a couple of exemptions, like if there's still a couple of highways that have railroads going across them, like actual
Yes.
like interstate level highways and things like that. But other than, or if the tracks have been ripped up, obviously, otherwise they have to stop, and they want to do that differently, which I don't know if it's um certain hazmat materials are exempt and certain ones aren't, or if everything is exempt. They
Yeah, point out the hazmat that's less deadly for me to hit. Go ahead.
um
I'll wait.
I imagine
There
if
is actually one answer, but I'm not going to give it to him.
I imagine if you hit a tanker of like fluorine or something, you wouldn't know it was hazardous because you die.
I wouldn't know that I hit it.
If you hit like a
That I hit a
truck
truck full of
carrying
fluorine.
yeah, or hydrogen or something, you would die before you realized that anything was wrong, which I suppose counts. It doesn't. Um, but yeah, I'm not basically what they're trying to do is, I believe this is basically where they're only trying to make it for um gate intersections without lights or gates, which
Yeah, if you come up to one of the way I read it, if you come up to one of those, then you still have to
yeah,
stop.
the issue with this being that what happens when the gates fail or something. It's like,
What happens when the gates fail either way?
yeah,
If they stay on or if they don't come on?
yeah, it's like what happens if the gates fail? What happens if you think this is an exempt thing? Because this is not exactly clear. This is kind of clear wording, but the real world isn't exactly that that stick isn't exactly that clean cut. So who knows? I also have no idea why they decided to do this. Like, obviously the left wing take would be to just blame Trump for this, but who benefits from this?
Trucking companies. Trucking companies can get drivers that have an easier time getting licenses and have a harder time getting those licenses revoked for not doing things they should, like stopping at crossings.
Ah, yes.
There is
The
a
old
distinct shortage of truck drivers right now,
Yes,
and this is a response to it.
I see. So they want to make truck drivers even less responsible than they already are. Good. Good. I love when a truck driver shows up who has no idea how to back in his truck to our loading docks. I love that. I it's
Oh,
always
it's a great time to take a break, like a 20-minute break, and
No,
just watch them fuck up
I'm
over and
in
over.
charge of, and one of my many jobs, because I work for a small business, is I am also in charge of the shipping and receiving. So I have to be there. So far the
So you get paid for it.
I
You get
I
paid for the
I get
show.
paid for this, yes, but I will say I have strong opinions, which is that the best truck drivers are either with Pitt, Ohio, which is a local trucking concern, or they're Russian. The more Adidas, the better they are.
Yeah, I can confirm half of that.
The more Adidas, the better
Um,
they are at backing up, because a guy in a hotshot
Everything
truck,
else is a crapshoot.
yeah, a guy in a hotshot truck did it first try. That was impressive. He also slept in it, which I thought was really, really interesting. That was the first time I saw one of the box trucks with a bunk in the back. But
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
yeah, they do conversions. It's like they build a portal between the cab and the front, and they put like a wall in the front of the box. It's much better than the other hotshot driver we had one time who slept on our property without telling us, who was in a Ryder truck and was just uncomfortably sleeping in a Ryder truck cab. I felt
That
bad for
sucks on
him.
so many levels.
I
Yeah.
felt bad for him, but also that he we were it was a whole thing. Anyways, moving on from railroad crossing accidents to our topic for today:
Well,
railroad crossing
well.
accidents.
Oh dear God.
Uh, I I,
Oh my
apo-
God.
I apologize for the coloration, but I've got to make this fun for me. So, uh,
Got to make it fun somehow because we are about to have a lot of
yeah, this
not fun.
you might notice there's going to be a lot less animations and transitions because this is actually kind of bad. So we're going to go into our first into our topic, which is level crossing accidents, and there is three kinds of level crossing accidents. There are preventable ones, there are freak accidents, and there are morons. Uh,
I would
to
argue that the first and third might be the same to a certain degree.
there's a slight difference that I felt was worthy of separating them out. So a preventable accident is the one where this is more obviously the fault of traffic management or or something like that. Like if you have a level crossing with only a crossbuck on it, a driver who might not be from the area, who might be driving in like limited visibility conditions, may not see the thing. Or, if this is like some real rural middle of nowhere shit, and the railroad line is on like the top of an embankment and the road has to slope all the way up to it, sometimes you legitimately cannot see. And so you
Yeah.
are entirely possible to pull out in front of a train and just get creamed. So that's a preventable accident. Morons are more like the people who will go around a gate with flashing lights that are down and because they don't want to wait for the train, and then they get hit by a train. This is absolutely a spoiler.
Or a signal maintainer. Signal maintainer forgets to reactivate a crossing after doing maintenance. We saw that up in what was it, Chicago a couple of years ago? There's some great dash cam footage of that.
I did not see that. Oh, was this the one with the FedEx truck? Was there are
no? This was one where there's a dash cam video of this guy just driving up to the crossing, and it's like it has lights, gates, bells, crossbucks. It is completely off. He's driving along, and at the last second, he swerves hard left and pops either the curb on the opposite side of the road or the median. I can't remember. And then a fucking metro train blasts through at 70 miles an hour.
Was this a cop that this was a cop dash cam? I think I saw that.
Maybe. But, yeah. I'd have to go look at it again. But, then at the very end, this poor signal maintainer pokes his head out of the shack, and it's like, yeah, you fucked up. And then the gates turn on.
Mm-hmm. And then there's a video that I didn't put in here, but it's from Russia, where Russia has those ginormous metal plates that raise out of the ground to physically spear your car if you go through, because obviously Russians crave death, so mere gates will not stop them. But there's a video that floats around the internet of the gates go down, the metal plates go up, the lights go off, and then all of that stops. The plates go down, the gates go back up, the lights turn off, and both car drivers on either side are like, they don't move, and then an express train hammers through. I did not.
Somebody fucked up that timing.
Yeah. Yevgeny really forgot to do his job that day, but so that's the freak accident, as opposed to the moron, which is, the one who blows straight through the thing without looking. Average Brightline, front-facing camera experience.
Spoilers
for later. But so we're going to get into that, and then we're going to get into the main meat of this video. This is the freak accident. This is what I think is like the best example of the freak accident. So for those of you who aren't old or didn't have a really weird experience on YouTube in the early 2000s, Rescue 911 was a TV show hosted by William Shatner in the 80s going into the 90s, where they had remarkably high production values for what they did, and which was, they basically read through newspapers and AP Wire things and found just absolute wild shit that happened to people, and then they fully recreated it with sets and actors and cars crashing, planes flying, all sorts of things.
Have you ever seen a full-size executive jet get rigged up for RC and then crashed for a 30-minute, 1-hour television show? Because that's what Rescue 911 was.
Yeah, Rescue 911 did shit like that all the time. For an example, this Rescue 911 video, which we are not going to watch the whole one of, if you look it up, just put in Rescue 911 runaway boxcars. This was in, I believe, the 80s in Michigan. If you go to the archive.ph link down there, that'll actually take you to the only source I could find about this, which was an AP report that was reprinted in a newspaper somewhere. That basically, at a C&O yard in Michigan, someone kicked too hard, as I'm sure you've seen many times, Zach, and a pair of boxcars just started trundling down the main line at what had to have been fairly decent speeds. And for whatever reason, I don't know how they worked at the time, but the crossing sensors did not pick them up. So we get this, which this might be a little loud. I'm going to try my best to make it not be.
Let me know what it is, please.
I was just about to cross the tracks, and I didn't even notice or pay much attention to the vehicles approaching me coming from the other direction. All at once I saw something as large as a house.
Check it out. Here now.
And I remember thinking that there's no way anybody's going to be alive in that car.
Dawn Kelly saw the collision from her van.
Boxcar came through the intersection. The blinking lights didn't flash. The gates didn't come down. I knew right away that the person who was sitting on the passenger side was going to be hurt.
I do like the actor in this car.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, they tried, and they like you can see in a bit. There's actually the engine pushing the boxcars.
Were my main concern. If anybody was alive, what kind of condition they were in, stopping the thing so we could get them out. The only thing I could think of was the brake wheel on the boxcar. I put my foot to the floor. My attention was not only to get ahead of the boxcars, but a 6-mile road.
Yeah,
I knew
you
I
can
could
see
get
the
up to
engine.
the tracks relatively quickly.
Yep.
The bridge at 6 Mile was of great concern to me. The vehicle's not going to fit across that bridge. If it hits the bridge at any speed, I have no idea what's going to happen.
What
It's
railroad
going to
is
dislodge the
DN?
vehicle, drop it onto the road underneath the bridge, just derail the boxcars.
Never heard of that one.
Not
I have no idea.
sure. I'll figure it out for you.
Yeah.
Detroit and Mackinac.
I
Ah,
was well ahead of the boxcars at this point.
damn,
They were
that's some
traveling
dedication to
40
keeping
miles
it
an hour or so
realistic.
when they entered the intersection, and I'm sure we're slowing due to the vehicle lodged in the front. When I got into view, I could see.
Oh, and then watch
an
this,
elderly
Zach. This
gentleman
is
waving out his
like a
driver's window
masterclass
at
in
me.
how not to board a freight car.
Oh yes, I remember
Mine
this
races a
one.
million miles an hour in a situation
Almost
like that.
eats the
I
ballast.
remember thinking that if I wait to the end of the second boxcar, it's obviously the safest place to board, but there may not be a brake wheel there. I elected to board between the boxcars, hoping that one car or the other would have a brake wheel. When
Yeah,
I made
don't do
contact with
that.
that handrail, it deceived me.
Oh.
That sucker's going a lot faster than I thought.
Good on him for having arm strength.
No kidding, he's doing better than I probably would have. I take that back. I did that once by accident. It scared the shit out of me. They really added that Foley squeal in there.
I mean, maybe they didn't. Maybe that's actually the noise it made.
Okay, you know what? You might be right.
Okay. I could tell that the driver was okay. Physically, he appeared to be in good shape. There's no massive bleeding.
Now we're going to stop it there, just because otherwise we'll watch the whole thing, and this is already going to go long. Short thing is the driver survived, but sadly, his wife in the passenger seat did not, as one would expect when there's a freight car knuckle shoved through the door of like a K car.
Oh, that's always a scary situation.
But now we're going to go on to the next slide, which is we need some needed context before we go on, which is that why do we care? Why am I talking so much about hazmat vehicles and school buses stopping on level crossings? This is why. This is the 1938 South Jordan train bus collision, which is 1938 in where the hell was this? This was in Utah.
Utah.
And the short version of it, it was really foggy. It was really awful. A school bus being driven then down a country-ish road. I either misses the crossbuck altogether or just thinks that it's clear and gets broadsided by a Rio Grande Challenger doing 50 miles an hour. And 24 kids die, and the bus driver. Oof. So, and it's one of these like rural tragedies where everybody knew everybody on the bus, that sort of thing.
Like you kill half the town in one incident.
Half the town's future, was as it says here, speeding freight strews dead 2 blocks. So,
they don't make headlines like they used to.
No, they don't. So basically, this is the real reason why any of that is required nowadays, is that especially in the days before mechanical grade crossings in a lot of areas. You couldn't, like, you had to make the driver stop. Otherwise, shit like this could happen, even when, like, no one was at fault. Even when no one was actually at fault, it was just, poor weather. Also, I would like to point out to you, Zach, the accident is a basis for an urban legend in San Antonio.
Been there.
Yep, it's
legit been there. It's bullshit. I remember reading in a book in a small child that there's some guy who went and confirmed that it was like, the idea is that you get up to this crossing and if you stop on the tracks, little ghost children push your car across the tracks.
That TV show in the early 2000s that talked about it.
I read in a book about a guy who confirmed that this was paranormal activity, and one of the ways he did it was he just set like various sized spheres, marbles, rubber balls, basketballs, and whatnot on the crossing, and they all went the wrong way or stayed in place. So my mom is big into the supernatural stuff, so we had to go out there on one of our trips to San Antonio, and I had in my pocket a little bouncy ball, and I set that thing down, and I made sure to very gently let it go. And what did it do? It rolled the same way the car was going to roll.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's why I'm skeptic. Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, the terminology for what that is probably it's a gravity hill, which is one of these optical illusions where the ground looks flat, but it is on a downhill slope of some form. It looks flat or it looks uphill, but it's actually going downhill.
Relative to the surroundings, it looks uphill.
Yeah, and it's just not. And that's sort of the same thing if you ever go to one of those roadside attractions that's a mystery house, and you have two people standing next to each other and they seem different sizes. That's exactly the same sort of optical illusion that we're talking about. It's just,
there is one of those in San Antonio too, like 20 minutes away from this crossing, where you can watch water run uphill.
My God.
We also went to that on the same trip, and it just it made me such a skeptic.
Oh, I'm sorry. My family goes to these to have fun and laugh at them. Yours went because you believed in it. Oh God.
Part of the family.
Your mother made you go because she believed in it. Yes, but
I think the mystery house we went to, because like it was open when she was a little kid. She was like, "Oh, it was fun. We'll go there. We'll take the kids there." I don't think that one was actually like, "Ooh, there's weird stuff happening."
Okay.
The crossing totally was, though.
Yeah. So this is just some background context for why school buses and trains don't mix that well. And this is something that, we'll get into later. It's really hard to legislate or even just prevent this anyways. I think if you really wanted to remove grade crossing accidents as a whole, you would need to grade separate the entirety of the US rail network. And even then, there was a huge crash in England that was caused when a car went off of a highway and crashed onto a main line and derailed the train. So it's you can make the joke of, why don't we ban all cars? It's like that's not productive to this discussion, and I'll get into that in the next couple of slides. But
I'd have to look for it. But if you're interested in that specific one where the train went off the road, or a car went off the road and caused a major train incident, Signals to Danger is a fantastic podcast.
I've listened to that one.
Has a whole layout of that. Yes.
I also independently, I had to do a speech class in college, and that you had to give a presentation from memory, and I did it on a PowerPoint presentation as was part of it. I did it on that train crash, because I am I am a hopeless foamer. I once we're done, I will show you family photos that I recently digitized that are just me at every single train thing around the area where I lived.
Yeah, I have a bunch of those photos too.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so now we're going to go on to the real topic of today, the 1995 Fox River Grove bus train collision. This is the big one. This is the big school bus train accident that is what everybody knows about. This is like, without it, like, if you want like milestone things, this is it. This is it. There is nothing bigger than this in the U.S. in terms of like, this was a horror, like, you know how the newspapers used to say, you know, children killed in a horror crash. This is that.
Yeah, this was that. And it happened way later than it should have. We should know how trains and crossings and signals work. And there was just a complete failure.
Yeah.
That
this is one of the ones where the Swiss cheese model is really, really a good way to look at it, because there were so many individual minutiae, like not even factors, like minute things that nobody thought about, that all came together to cause a really, on its face, simple accident that killed a bunch of people. So first we got to talk about Fox River Grove. Fox River Grove is a suburb in the northwest. What's up?
Real quick, what was that note? What was that note on the intro slide to this collision?
Don't assume that I've looked at my own notes at all. It is...
It's okay. I know you haven't seen this. I'm going to ask the real questions here.
The note that I had... Oh, we don't know if this is the actual engine or not for the train. So this...
But was the F40 okay?
The F40 was... the F40 was fine. Actually, the F40 is so okay that its PR team managed to get its name scrubbed from everything. Like, it's actually not even in the NTSB report which Metra F40 it was.
But is this not it? Well, no, I guess this wouldn't be it, because I see this one has a headlight on. Yeah, so this may be another train coming through?
Well, yeah, they could have been pulling it away from the site of the accident.
Also possible.
That's the thing. Nobody knows. I went to Chicago a couple of weeks ago for a train photography event, and I asked some people who worked for Metra, and nobody knows. Nobody knows which engine it is, because a couple of sources seem to claim which one it is, and I'll get to that in a minute, but we're not 100% certain. So, but anyways,
oh dear.
Going on to the first slide in this, if I am on the right screen, here we go. Fox River Grove, Illinois. As one might expect, it is a grove on the shores of the Fox River. It's in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, on the what would now be the UP Northwest line of Metra, but that is getting renamed soon. It was at the time a much smaller town that basically the Chicago exurbs, of which Fox River Grove is, because I think it's like almost an hour to get to downtown from here, presumably with rush hour traffic and everything. Fox River Grove was much smaller at the time, and it's just expanded over the years to sort of, as more and more houses were added in here because more people want to live in Chicago. Now we go into the Algonquin Road US 14 intersection, which is where this accident happened. As you can see, one of my favorite things about Wikipedia is that there actually are Wikipedia articles for individual numbered U.S. highways that are broken down on a state-by-state basis.
Yes.
So U.S. Route 14...
I love this.
I do too. U.S. 14 is one of the original U.S. numbered highways. It goes all the way out into Wyoming. I actually didn't know this. It terminates at the east entrance of Yellowstone. But
that's kind of rad.
It is. And
Chicago to Yellowstone on the same highway?
Yeah. Oh yeah. But one of it in the Chicago area, it's a major feeder road. It used to be like a major just a highway in general, like into Chicago, back when, cars were a novelty and could be called like a 2-lane thing. Nowadays it still is, but it feeds into the highway system, the actual interstate system that goes into Chicago. I don't think you would take 14 all the way down just for the sheer number of stoplights in small towns. But if I go back a slide, you can see how it sort of curves around a couple of things up by Cary. It does that further as you get closer to Chicago as well. It curves around and bypasses the actual towns because it's easier to not send all of the traffic directly through.
You don't want to send all of the traffic on a major highway through the one 4-way stop sign in town during rush hour?
They're all stop
What's
lights.
wrong with that?
They're all stop lights now.
Oh,
but actually,
now they are.
Now they are. And actually, that's a really good point you've just made. So in 1989, going into 1990, the intersection with Algonquin Road, which is an even smaller feeder road, that connects Fox River Grove to Algonquin, just a little bit further down the Fox River. It's a beautiful road. I drove down it once. It goes right along the shores of the Fox River. It's very pretty. That whole thing, that was a T intersection with a stop sign, but and if you click again, I actually have nested Google Earth images here. You can see on here, if you look by where it says Lucky Lucy's 7 on this first Google Earth screenshot, that 14 through Fox River Grove was one lane in each direction. Or if it wasn't, it's a much narrower 2-lane in each direction road. And
I want to be completely open with you and admit that I may have fucked up these transitions in the screenshots.
Did you now?
So it may not. It will very likely not appear as you intended, and I'm sorry.
Oh dear. Well, where is the other one then? Because there are supposed to be 2 screenshots in here.
They look the same to me.
Oh no. I had transitions set. Oh no. But we will.
I'm still getting used to this whole presentation thing.
Okay, so pretend in your mind's eye.
I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm especially sorry to Joe, but I'm sorry to everybody else for ruining this.
So pretend in your mind's eye that there are in fact 2 screenshots here. US 14 was a 1 lane in each direction road going in at about 1989-ish. And in 1989, it was expanded to 2 lanes in each direction. And concurrently with Fox River Grove getting a much larger population increase. So it doesn't really show up here, but down by Foxmore Park, this development with the curvy roads and the cul-de-sacs was put in during that period of time. There's another one on above the edge of the screenshot along the shores of the river, and then more houses were built right where it says Arrow Boomerang as a business name. I don't know what that is, but it sounds fucking awesome. But
yeah,
that was also new build, and there was a lot of other new build housing in here because people were moving out of Chicago, or they were moving to Chicago but not into the city. So a lot of this was happening right here, and 14 was needed to expand to do this. And for anybody who wants to make just one more lane bro comment, you can shut the fuck up, because this US 14 parallels directly the metro line going to Crystal Lake. This is absolutely 100% transit served, and it just, even with Metra's commuter trains, not everybody is going where the trains go. So it really did need to be expanded. To go off topic for a second, I really am one of those people who only will make the just one more lane comments after a highway is already like 3 lanes. Like once you get beyond that, you can start making the jokes, but like a 3-lane highway is not in each direction is not anything. That's just normal traffic
Hello,
flow.
Katy Highway in Houston with your 14 lanes, I think it is.
That's excessive. I also am one of these. This is just a me thing. The concept of induced demand makes me upset because I don't like that it happens. Like the existence of a new road should not invite you to drive on it. It's like So
But it does.
It annoys me that
I've fallen for that.
I'm aware of that. I'm just, it annoys the shit out of me that is an actual thing that happens, because it shouldn't. But I also realize that I live someplace where the population hasn't materially changed since the 90s. So I'm not.
Must be fucking nice.
It is nice. I actually, like, aside from everything that's going on at the state government level, it's actually really nice out here. You know, there's not a whole lot of traffic.
I keep getting advertisements in my fucking podcasts about like 10 reasons why you should move to Ohio, and now I'm kind of starting to consider it.
It's really not bad. It's I provided that you can speak Republican, which, you know, not everybody can, obviously.
Or you can learn to tune it out. That's what I have to do.
Your mileage may vary. Please do not at me about your specific circumstances. But anyways, on this, we can see that there, if you focus in on the little restaurant marker that's called Lucky Lucy's 7, that is the intersection with Algonquin Road and US 14. And the space in between that and the next restaurant marker down the road, which is El Sombrero, it is the space between that is the metro station. And so Algonquin Road was a stop sign T intersection that they upgraded to traffic lights. But the other thing that they had to do when they upgraded it from traffic lights to when they upgraded 2 traffic lights from a stop sign was they also made the approach to that smaller. So it was physically smaller, and we'll get into what that meant later. But basically, the short version is that they had to start doing some traffic engineering, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But for right now, it's fine. It's 1990-ish. Everything is fine. HW is president.
He'll be all right.
Don't. The Soviet Union's gone. Just, it's fine.
There's no new taxes. No new taxes. He told us to read his lips.
We read his lips. No new taxes. Bill who? Bill, the governor of Arkansas? I don't care about him. Anyways.
Yeah, what the fuck is he gonna do?
Anyways, continuing on to the next one. Now we can talk about the bus. So this is not a photo of the actual bus, but this is about as close to what the bus would have looked like as I could find on the internet. This is a 1992 Amtran 71 passenger bus with a Navistar chassis. Now there's a lot of minutiae with this one, most of which doesn't matter. But you will notice that it says Ward on the side. That is because Ward coaches had been bought by Amtran a couple of years earlier, and this was actually the last model year, 1992, that the Ward branding was applied to Amtran buses. So
I love corporate identity agreements and buyouts.
That threw me for a little bit of a loop. Ward actually went bankrupt, so this is Amtran buying their assets, which is even better. But that threw me for a bit of a loop. I had to track that one down. Amtran is also a subsidiary of Navistar, which is why it's an international chassis, because Navistar wanted to vertically integrate their school bus production lines and own everything. So they bought a bus maker.
Bus monopoly.
It's the streetcar scam all over again. But anyways, this is owned and operated by the very eloquent and briefly named Transportation Joint Agreement School District 47155. 47/155, which I believe served Fox.
Oh, why is it so complicated?
I believe, okay, I don't know anything about how Illinois does its school districts or its transportation, but I believe that this is a joint transportation district between Fox River Grove and Cary. I could be wrong, but basically I don't think either town was big enough to support their own school bus system. I could be wrong. I didn't actually look that bit up because I was not. I had to draw a line somewhere after I spent 15 minutes trying to figure out why the bus said Ward on it. That could have just been its name. They could have named it that for all I knew at the start of this. But the other thing, it was bus number 103, not 237 like this example bus. It had a 38-foot 4-inch length with a 23-foot wheelbase. That's important. And then the other important things to note is that the bus had an AM/FM radio with a cassette deck and 8 speakers, including one that was directly above and next to the driver's head. Again, that's
distraction.
That's important.
Who cares?
That's important.
It's the 90s. That bus driver's probably like snorting coke before each route anyway.
Yeah, chain smoking their way through the day, that sort of thing, lighting each cigarette off the next one while steering with their knees.
Yup.
And then finally, sound attenuating material has been placed throughout the cabin on the roof, because if anyone has ever gone to school in the US, you will know that a school bus is perhaps the least pleasurable form of transportation you could ever consider that isn't a motorcycle. Because it is a diesel engine, which is in no way quiet, in a mostly hollow metal frame body that is bouncing and vibrating and rattling, and you are in like church pew level comfort seats that are...
If you have never fought another kid, maybe a grade or two ahead of you, for a seat in a specific row on a school bus like this, you have no idea what you're missing out. Because if you got the right seat, you got the best ride. And even that wasn't great. But you didn't get thrown out of your seat every time you hit a pothole.
That actually is relevant in this story, believe it or not.
God, no.
That does come up. So that is all stuff that is important here. But then we go on to the train. Now, we do the NTSB report does name and shame the cab car, but the locomotive is unclear. So this was Metro Cab Car 8751. I believe these were built by Pullman Standard, I think, for the CNW. I
think they're old enough that, yeah,
I'm blanking on a lot of Metra facts right now, but basically these are not the smooth, the fluted side silver cars you see nowadays. These are old ex CNW bi-levels that you don't really see in regular service anymore unless you're at like the Illinois Railway Museum on a diesel day or something like that. Because
doesn't that one weird little service out in Nashville run these?
I hope the WeGo Star doesn't, but they might. I know their stuff is definitely ex-Metra, but I thought it was the newer stuff. Could be wrong. But also, they are painted in the Regional Transportation Authority paint of brown, orange, and white, as opposed to the more common Metra blue and white and red of nowadays. Just so that everybody...
Oh, it's got the older colors.
Yeah, it's the older colors, the older cars. And then on the locomotive end, I found one article written by a guy who posts somewhat prolifically to Reddit and Medium that claims it was engine 148. I don't know how accurate that is. All that I do know is that it probably was an F-45, and not an
F-40.
Probably not
F-40 superiority.
No. It probably was not one of the F-45s because they still had those. Remember the 6-axle ones?
Metra had F-45s? What the fuck?
No, wait. Which one is it? It's the big F-40 with the 6 axles. What is it called? They just don't... F-40C. That's what it is.
Yeah.
F-40C. It was not one of those. That's about all that I could be sure of. But it could be any of the Metra F-40s PHs that they had at the time. Nobody's really sure. at least as far as I've been able to tell. If you do know, please email us our incredibly long email address, and we will mention it in the next episode. So, not the next episode, whenever we post these. But
And I believe that email address is syddoywtw@gmail.com. That's probably wrong. We'll have to add it in the show notes.
It's in the description on YouTube whenever we put these up. It'll be there. But yeah, so this is painted in a little bit of an older version of Metra's scheme. It doesn't say Metropolitan Rail anymore on them. Not really much different to today until you get into like the really new stuff that they're painting, like the it's like there's no orange on it. I don't like it. It doesn't suit the F40s nearly as well. But basically, just to give you an idea of what we're dealing with here, these trains are entirely blunt angles, and they are doing 70 miles an hour because aerodynamics are fucks.
Go fuck your aerodynamics. We don't need them.
And so now we go on to the next slide, the accident from the perspective of the bus. So, starting off in the morning, we are met with another cruel reality of American public schooling, which is that it starts at fucking 6 a.m. Okay?
Fucking assholes.
Fucking assholes, because the bus driver for this route, for bus 103, essentially no call, no shows. I'm assuming that maybe the driver called in sick, like, as their shift was starting, like basically like, hey guys, I'm sick. And it's like
they
6:01.
did the great American they did the great American thing of getting to the parking lot, realizing that they really didn't want to do this, and because it's in the mid 90s, they had to drive to the nearest payphone and call off. Whereas today, we just drive in, park, call off from our cell phone, and then drive off.
Either that or the driver was legitimately sick. That is always the option, but we don't know for certain. But in any event, the bus was supposed to leave at 6:10, and it took about 20 minutes to organize substitute driver / assistant transportation director Patricia Katenkamp to get onto the bus. This is actually a really good thing for a couple of kids because the bus just didn't show up, and this is the 90s, so nobody knew that it wasn't showing up. So they found other transport to school as a result of that. Some people just got rides or whatever. Now, Patricia Katenkamp is the assistant transportation director. She had been promoted up through the ranks from like an administrative secretary. She had a CDL. She was fully licensed, but despite being the assistant transportation director for the incredibly long-named Joint Transportation Association, she has never driven this route before in any vehicle of any kind. Which isn't.
You don't need to be familiar with what you're administrating, do you?
Which is an oversight that I can both understand, but also is wildly inappropriate as like someone with a responsibility. Like, I can totally understand you not getting around to doing it until all of a sudden it becomes relevant, but also this is not, you can't really do that. That's not okay.
No.
But anyways, like, she had never driven this to the point where the first kid that she picked up had to sit in the front row and like help her with directions.
I've done that.
Which,
not with a school bus, but I've done that.
Yeah,
you know what? Do you want to get to work on time? Tell me where we're going.
Good for her that she got like somebody willing to help and not like Judd Bender or something like that.
Yeah, that kid deserves like an extra chocolate milk at lunch.
Yeah. The first pickup was made at 6:55 a.m. and the bus, and as you can see, the Fox River Grove Junior High School is like just across the street. They only had like
close.
They had like one stop left, which I would like to point out that my local school district where I live refused to pick up kids more than a mile from the, like, who are closer than a mile to the school. And I am exactly 0.9 miles from high school and from middle school and from the intermediate school before that. So I never rode a bus my entire life when I lived here.
I lived in a certain district for a little while that I couldn't do that for the same thing. Like if I wanted to ride the bus to school, it was going to cost something ridiculous, like $600 a year in early 2000s money, which
Oof.
seemed fucky.
Yeah, no, that's a lot. But I'm just very annoyed that these kids managed to get picked up basically around the corner.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Spoiled brats. Walk to school like we
they
did.
legitimately had one stop left before the school after they crossed Algonquin Road. After they crossed the train tracks on Algonquin. What I was mentioning is that one of the kids who did survive this accident was going to sit in the back of the bus and was advised by the seniors who were sitting back there that there was a caste system on the bus and underclassmen.
I told y'all.
Underclassmen had to sit up front. And so he did,
Yep.
and he lived.
You got to earn that spot in the back of the bus.
But so this is actually something else that's really interesting. So the bus arrives at the crossing at 7:10 a.m. A full, I'm assuming 20 minutes after when it should have.
Probably.
The Patricia Cadenkamp and the kid helping her looked both ways and did not see anything. So I'm inclined to believe that they actually didn't. Then, and this is something that I find a little bit, this is one of those really unfortunate things. They were the first vehicle at the light. So she pulled across the tracks to actuate the lights. Which is what, that's, and the word actuate is like what she said, which I find interesting because I don't know if there was a sign or if she had, because she'd never driven the route before. Maybe she drove over Algonquin Road once or twice, but
yeah, it may have been. She just knew that there was like a sensor there for the light. She knew that one street or something.
Yeah, but of course the problem is that having never done it regularly at the very least, and definitely never in a school bus, she didn't know that the bus's 38-foot whatever length was longer than the distance between the running rails and the white line that she pulled up to. So she was within...
Well, look, man, if a 1996 Chevrolet Caprice can fit between the stop line and that crossing, then a school bus should as well, right? Because those things were huge.
Absolutely. And like the Caprice, yeah. And the Caprice SS and a school bus have the exact same, off the line times too, right?
Pretty much.
But yeah,
actually, no, I don't know. The Caprice got a Corvette engine.
Yeah, that was a joke. Obvious.
Oh no.
That all of this is relevant. I am making jokes because I read the NTSB report. I know all of this shit. So the bus didn't fit. She didn't know that. And then all of a sudden, as they're sitting there at the red light, like literally probably as the other lights are starting to turn yellow on 14, kids in the back begin fucking screaming about a train or something. Like,
shut the fuck up, nerds. Yes, it's a train. We're
they're just like screaming and shouting, and like the word train makes its way out of the back, and nobody has enough time to figure out what they're talking about. Anyway, let's talk about the train.
Train?
Yeah, this is the train perspective. So I would like to give a big shout out to Metra for having a website with timetables on it in 1995 or 1996.
Yeah.
1996, because I actually went on the Wayback Machine and I found all of this. So this is exactly what the timetable would have been in 95. On the UP Northwest line, which definitely wasn't called the UP Northwest line at the time, was train 624. It was known locally as the Flyer, and I say that in all seriousness because there's a 60 Minutes or a Newsweek, one of the TV news magazine shows they had in the 90s, did a piece like a week after this happened, and they interviewed the guy in the car behind the bus who was like, and he says on camera, that's the frickin' Flyer. So I guess it was known as that because train 624 skipped the stops at Fox River Grove and Cary. Because
Right through them.
yeah, went right through them. It was a direct from Crystal Lake to Barrington. It did not stop, so presumably it just flew through at line speed, 70 miles an hour. The only place it did have to stop was at Cary Station, where it slowed down to 18 miles an hour, which was the Metra official passing speed, because train 603, the highlighted one, was a return service to McHenry from Chicago Madison Street, because some poor fuck has to get up at 5:55 in the morning to go back. But that was the first outbound service, and it stops at Cary and also skips Fox River Grove, which is a little bit mean. There's only one train that stops at Fox River Grove. That is a 6:22 in the morning.
Good God.
No, train 6:22 at 7:15 a.m. I'm sorry. So if you miss that one, you're kind of fucked for a little bit. But
that's mean.
Yeah, that's if we want to talk about just one more lane, bro, we need just one more train, bro, because there's really not a lot of service. This is why they're redoing how commuter rail works after COVID, because this is not sustainable. Especially when people are working from home. But in any event,
these headways are nuts too.
Oh yeah. So anyways, well, because it's not, it's UP now, but this is within a couple of months of Union Pacific completing its merger / takeover of the Chicago Northwestern, which ran this line up to that point.
Yep.
So the CNW just did whatever the fuck they wanted. And
they famously did that forever.
So CNW, now UP engineer Ford Dotson, probably the guy who feels the worst about this, accelerates the train back up to line speed. He is crossing the Fox River at around 66 miles an hour, which is under a mile from the Algonquin Road crossing. He can see the bus slowly moving across the line. He puts the train in idle and makes a brake application just to make sure that the bus actually is in the clear by the time he goes. And then the bus fucking stops. So
God damn it.
On to the next slide. We have two pictures that I took, which from roughly the same position as the bus is. So in one, you can see what probably Patricia Catenkamp saw as she pulled up to the crossing, which is Fox River Grove Station, the line going away, and then in the very distance, you can see a little blip that is the train. And then in the other...
way down there.
You can just see it. It's not clear, especially if you're not expecting it. And then you can see in the next photo an image that I have titled POV, Your Substitute School Bus Driver Sucks.
God damn it.
Which is, I actually held my camera above my head to make sure that it would be about head height with where the school bus windows would be.
Oh shit.
So this is obviously, I would like to just make it clear, the train is stopped at Fox River Grove Station in this instance, but the train would have been doing over 60 miles an hour towards the bus on this incident. And bad things happen in regards to that. If we go to the next slide, we can see what those bad things are. So yeah, this is bad.
They disassembled the bus.
It did. The last 4 feet or so.
Rapid disassembly.
Yeah. The last 4 feet or so of the bus were hanging over the tracks. So what happened is the train hit it, at a point almost the train hit it behind the wheels, and then basically stripped the coach body from the frame, and it spun it
right off of that thing. God
spun
damn.
it around to the point, I think if that lamppost hadn't been there, it probably would have done a full 360, if not more. Although I have also heard I have really trouble spatially recognizing things. Depending on how you hear the witness statements, it actually may have done a full revolution before it hit that
Oh
lamppost.
God.
I'm not 100% certain. Imagine in your head the most horrifying way that this could happen. But considering there is a tree in the way, there's a tree and a lamppost the bus seems to be between, I'm not certain.
That looks like a sapling. That could be pretty flexible, and like if it was just knocked over really quickly, it could spring back up. And
I'm not 100% certain on that. Emergency response to this was instantaneous because the police chief of Fox River Grove was across the street in his car, and he saw it happen, and he lost his absolute mind when this happened.
Yeah, I would. How in the fuck? How does this happen? You're sitting there. You didn't see any reason for that bus to be in an especially unsafe position right there. I mean, it's obviously unsafe sitting with the back half hanging out over the crossing, but the gates aren't on.
Well, no, the gates were down. The gates were down. Maybe he just wasn't looking. Like maybe he was looking for like red light runners or something. But this happened.
Maybe.
This happened virtually right in front of him. The Fox River Grove Fire Department is like 2 buildings down the street as well. So fire EMS, like this is like 9/11, but only the Pentagon levels of effective emergency response, where it was instantaneous and actually organized to a T. Nothing. As far as like, you know, there are times when like emergency responses are bungled. This was not one of them. And then you can see like,
doesn't seem like it.
You can see like how mangled the bus is in this lower shot, and then the interior shot looking back through the passenger cabin. This is, I believe, like a year or so later in the Chicago police impound yard. Exactly what this thing went through, where it basically accelerated from 0 to 60 in 0 seconds. To give you a better idea, if you look at the main picture, the aerial picture, you can see how the frame rails right behind the wheels are bent. Like,
oh shit! Yep, they sure are.
That is a full ladder frame truck body that has been just bent at like a 45-degree angle. This is an absolutely, like, God, what is the Adam Savage quote? What a monumental amount of force. That's
how perfect.
Yeah, that's like you are becoming part of a physics experiment. And it really was, because unfortunately several children did die. Mostly, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 kids were ejected from the bus, and then several other. I think it's. I have it written down in the next slide. I think it's 7. Is that right? Do I remember my own writing? But
don't see that note.
Oh, good. I didn't remember. It's 7. I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I remember this shit. But seven kids died. All of them were in the back of the bus, showing once and for all that the caste system is no good, because they were all upperclassmen who rejected the kid from sitting back there. On a more like horrifying note, so the black dots on this indicate kids that were ejected from the bus. based on how their head injuries were, based on the injuries to them, it's almost likely that the kids didn't actually move, at least at first. The injuries are more consistent with the bus body and specifically the window frames accelerating at them rapidly, and then they're standing still and the bus just smashes into them, and then they're propelled through the windows.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, and a lot of the kids.
Oh, that sucks so bad.
Oh yeah, a lot of the kids have horrible injuries from this. If you're looking at this, the AIS injury legend, you can see that everything in the back of the bus, except for weirdly this one kid in row 10, who has like almost nothing. AIS 2. I don't know how
And that one right in front of him in 9, AIS 1.
No. 9 and the kid in row 11. You see the little lines?
That indicates that they got yoinked.
The line is him getting up and running up the aisle.
The solid line. I was looking at the dotted.
Solid line.
Yeah, the dotted line starts back around 11.
Yeah, the solid lines are kids who got up and ran away. So the kid in row 11, who probably would have been hit by the train, like the train would have just intruded through and just smashed him. He got up and he ran all the way up to row 7. The kid in row 9 got up and he ran, and presumably the girl sitting next to him, because school bus aisleways, they have, I think the term is seat pitch. Like there's no room to really move quickly in them if you're on the window seat. So she was probably trying to move as
scoot over along the bench.
And that's probably what happened. You can actually see the kid in row 10 on the driver's side had a similar thing happen where he stood up but could not move. That probably saved his life because he was at least able to be thrown into the bus as opposed to out of it. Similarly, the kid in row 9 on the driver's side, she was further in, so she didn't take as much of the impact. And things of that nature. So, but you can really see how it just suddenly gets dramatically worse. Except for the kid in row 5, who I don't know what he did to hurt himself that badly, but
what's that anomaly?
I'm wondering if maybe that's almost like the point of rotation for the bus. So he got spun out or something. But or maybe when it hit the signpost, he got smashed into something.
Maybe
like from the deceleration. But like sitting at the front of the bus, everybody is fine. Actually, and I believe row 1 on where it's on the passenger side, the normal driver, the one who called in sick, her kids ride this bus. Now I don't know if her kids were on the bus that day. Maybe maybe it was a whole house illness or something, but those seats were equipped with seat belts because she was not about to have her kids ride around in the bus without them. So they were installed just on those seats and nowhere else.
That's fucking weird.
So maybe like the girl with the AI, maybe those two girls really, got a little bit like they, frantically buckling yourself in as the train gets closer.
Oh, you think you get to get away without wearing the seatbelt today because mom's not here? Nope. Here comes the train.
Or, something like, and then the driver actually does, Trisha Cadenkamp's injured probably because the bus body got ripped away, but the steering wheel didn't, so that had to have hurt. Yeah, because the mechanicals are all on the frame, and then they poach through into the coach-built body, so the body separate. That had to have fucked up her knees, if that wasn't a clean job. But in any event, so it was, again, this is bad. This is really bad in terms of like how this all happened. Really just where you sat that day depended on whether you lived or died. Like split-second decision making was really
Oh yeah,
the name of the game.
somebody probably got lucky because their buddy stayed home sick and they weren't sitting at the usual spot towards the back, so he just kind of took a whatever spot towards the front.
Well, no, remember, a lot of kids didn't show up. The bus was only like half full.
Yeah.
Because
this is true.
the bus was late, so everybody was either like, shit, I'm gonna have to walk, or they got someone to drive them. So a lot of people probably sat in a different seat, or I believe there was one kid who stayed home. They didn't take this bus because they were staying over with a friend, and so they had to take a different bus or something. So a lot
pure chance and luck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pure chance. And so we go on to the next slide. How did this happen? And now we get some more. We get some absolute
fuckery.
Oh no. So this is, I'm going to level with you guys. I read this. I tried to understand it. We're going to do our best. Basically, how this worked is that there's a termination shunt about 3,000 feet away from the crossing, which is, I think, actually on, like, either on or just across the Fox River Bridge going into Cary. And how it works is that it measures the train going over a set distance, at which point a thumb wheel is active, at which point the signal timing goes off. And there's a thumb wheel that is set that basically in the signal cabinet What's up?
I was going to say, I hope this makes sense to you, because I've read over it like 4 times now, and it doesn't make sense to me.
I'm trying. Basically, the train goes over the thing. A countdown starts. It measures how fast the train is going, and measures how long it would take that train, continuing at that speed, to reach the crossing. And then it recognizes how long the delay should be, because if you have the signals go down too early, and you have a long wait, this conditions people to go around the gates because the train won't be there for an extra 30 or 50 seconds, right?
They're going to go around the fucking crossing anyway. You can't stop some of these people.
Well, they're trying to engineer out as many
minimize
like,
it.
false positives, or like normalization of risk. They're trying to avoid that. You also can't have them go down too early, because obviously then there is way too little time to clear the gates. And all of this also has to be done with the traffic light timings. But we're going to get into that later. Federal minimum time for this delay is about 20 seconds. Now, the signals, it was set 30 seconds. So 30 seconds before the train arrives at the crossing, the gates would go down. That is presumably what the Chicago Northwestern had set. Now, again,
not a bad time.
I asked people who worked at Metro if they thought this next bit was true, and they looked at me like I had 7 heads. I don't know if I was able to properly articulate what I was asking. But a couple of weeks beforehand, the setting was changed by 5 seconds. They trip 25 seconds before the train gets there. This was done to ensure consistency at that crossing and throughout the railroad's property, which I have no basis for this, but what do you want to bet? That this is some asshole at Union Pacific is like 1990s era emails into an email chain with somebody who really does not seem to understand that .cnw.com doesn't work as an email address anymore. and is like, fuck you. It's 25 seconds. My word is God now. over you. And so they changed it.
A whole bunch of who bought who?
Essentially. Essentially. Because there was a couple of months earlier, a pickup truck got stuck between the gates, or the gates came down on a pickup truck. So I know that this wasn't the first time that UP signal maintainers came out to Algonquin Road. But I'm willing to bet money, not a lot of money, but some money, that this was the culmination of somebody in Omaha who does not know or care what Chicago is, because that's the big city full of liberals. This is the 90s. We don't have that discourse yet. This is the big city where they filmed the Blues Brothers. That is his only frame of reference for Chicago. And he just does not care anymore. And he's like, set it to 25 seconds or you're fired. And so that is what they do. That is what they do. I don't know why Union Pacific has them set to 25 seconds. Probably some bullshit from the 50s when they first started getting wigwag signals. I don't know. But what I do know is that no one at the Illinois Department of Transportation was contacted about this change in timing. So just keep all of this in your mind. If you want to pause the video and just get a look at the graphic on the side of the screen, this is, hopefully the NTSB managed to dumb it down enough for us. But basically, the train crosses the termination shunt, gets acquired, a little bit of math is done, and then the delay goes in, and then that's when the signals start going off. So at 70 miles an hour, at 30 seconds, the signals go off while the train is 2,500 feet away, while the train, at 25 seconds, it goes off while it's 2,400 feet away. Doesn't seem like much, but it makes a difference. Going on to the next slide.
Every second counts at something like that.
Traffic management, the work of Satan. You will notice every single one of these is a screenshot clipped from the NTSB report, because there's absolutely no way that I could make this make sense on my own. Essentially, as far as I'm aware, when the traffic signal system at the Algonquin Road US 14 intersection was installed and programmed, there were 6 different phases for traffic and 2 separate ones for people. And so basically what would happen is, when Algonquin Road got the green light, the pedestrians also got a walk signal automatically to cross US 14 between 5:45 a.m. and 10 p.m. on weekdays.
Okay.
Now, the thing that is important for this is that because they have technically interlocked the signals and the traffic lights, when the train comes through, they have to preempt everything. So they have to preempt everything and get Algonquin Road a green, so that any cars that are stopped on the intersection are going through. But there is a problem. The problem is that there's some asshole on foot crossing the middle of what Twitter urbanists would call a strode. It's not, but they would call it that anyways. And so
they would call everything a strode.
And so you have to give them time to clear. And so that was what happened up until October of 1994, when new signal controllers were installed on, I believe, the intersection for Algonquin Road, the intersection for the road on the other side of the metro station, and then I don't know what the third one is. But they all operated together. And so this is the preemption sequence that was in action on the day of the crash. If US 14 had a green signal and pedestrians crossing Algonquin Road had a walk indication. 1, a flashing don't walk would display for 12 seconds for people crossing Algonquin Road. So these would be people walking directly in front of the bus. And this is at like 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't think there's any pedestrians. Then, number 2, US 14...
Yeah, if they're going
Maybe.
Maybe a little bit.
I don't know. I don't believe in walking, so maybe that's just me. I'm fat. Anyways, then
Wow.
I am. But anyways, then next step, US 14 would turn from green to yellow for 4.5 seconds, and Algonquin Road pedestrians would get a solid don't walk indicator. Then US 14 would get a red signal for 1.5 seconds. Then Algonquin Road's red light would turn green for 12 seconds. So this is all that would happen between... This is what would happen between... and this takes, like... How long is this? 12, 4.5, 1.5. So that's...
17.
17 seconds. 20. This is like almost 40 seconds, right?
Which is a lot longer than what was laid out in both of those diagrams on the previous slide.
After the traffic signal system began operating in a coordinated mode, the preemption sequence included the automatic 12 seconds pedestrian clearance phase. So 18 seconds would elapse before a green indication was presented to Algonquin Road traffic to clear the railroad tracks. And then I love this bit. Parentheses. As the traffic signal system is very complex, more detail concerning it can be found in Appendix D. The NTSB believed that this was so complicated that they needed to have an entire appendix to display it.
That's how you know that you could probably clear something up right there.
People probably were driven to drink over this. But what you really need to know is that the pedestrian preemption phase takes a fucking age. That is the most important thing on this. Because you'll note, because everything else, like the yellow and the yellow going to red and the green going to yellow, that takes like 6 seconds. And
those
also
damn pedestrians wanting the right of way.
So from the point when if step 4 is how long the light is green for. So if we count up steps 1, 2, and 3, that's 12 seconds, 4.5 seconds, 1.5 seconds. That's like 17 seconds. So then this third column is actually more about some of the accidents that have happened on Algonquin Road in 1995 specifically, which most of these were either synchronization complaints or some other things like that. So the railroad had been out there a couple of times. On September 18th, a pickup truck got caught in the gates and then a train bumped it. So this is probably where the thumb wheel setting idea became like a real bugbear in someone's life. So UP then reset it on October 11th from 30 to 25 seconds. Because keep in mind, 17 seconds for the train, 17 seconds is the minimum amount of time that you have before the bus can leave the crossing if you don't want to run the red light, right?
Sitting there watching a train coming at you.
Well, actually, she didn't see anything. So
well,
17 seconds.
If you were aware.
Yeah, 17 seconds if you don't feel like running the red light. And then the light's only green for 12 seconds, but that's not important. Now, the NTSB timed a bunch of trains. The shortest warning time... We're going to ignore the 155-second longest time. I don't know how they managed that. But the shortest time...
That had to be somebody that grabbed a bunch of air and hauled ass up to the crossing and then creeped the last
either that or it was a drag freight or something, but
or a stopping service, maybe
I don't know, that could be it. But in either event, the average time the shortest warning time was 20 seconds. And IDOT and IDOT and the NTSB both came up with averages in the 22 to 21 second, the 21 to 26 seconds. And so this last line in this is the most important. The results also indicate that in 34 out of 66 tests that IDOT did, the traffic lights provided 10 seconds or less for traffic on Algonquin Road to clear the railroad tracks. 10 seconds.
10 is not a lot.
That's not a lot of time. So if we go now, obviously, there is another party to blame here, and it is the Chicago Northwestern Railroad. This graphic is important for a lot of things. It shows exactly where the bus was in relation to this and how this all worked. But more importantly, the Chicago Northwestern ran left hand. They ran opposite main in defiance of all logic and sense. And if this had been a normal railroad,
they just had to be different.
If this was a normal railroad that operated in any way like reality, the train would have passed by harmlessly on the other side, and we never would have heard about this. But
it would have been a close call and a couple of angry letters, and that was it.
Yeah, or the guy behind him would have shit his pants, but that's about it, and nothing else would have happened. But that is not what happened. Instead, the school bus basically got hit right on the end by the train. And yeah, that's it, except it's not. It's not. We have more to go still. See what I mean about minutiae? See what I mean about minutiae? So, okay. Acoustic management and distracting your bus driver. It is 100% possible that Patricia Catenkamp's first indication that there was a train coming was when the bus got hit. As tests done with exemplar buses afterwards, the interior sound deadening material drastically reduces the potency of outside noises. With an interior noise, with a noise source placed by the rear emergency door, 78 decibels in a bus with sound attenuation materials versus 101.5 in a bus without them. 50 feet from the vehicle, the exterior test was 78.2 without sound deadening and 73.5 with sound deadening. And so, and decibels are not percentages, they scale logarithmically. So 73 versus 78.
So that's a huge difference.
And then here's the best thing, which is that with traffic going by, an empty bus with the doors closed and the radio turned on to the level it was on in the bus, the interior decibel is 75 to 78 decibels as it is. So the train horn now is competing against passing traffic, the rattling diesel engine, the radio, and the kids. And then, even better, the speaker is one of the speakers is directly next to her head. So she is listening to what was a popular song in 1995?
Ooh, let's see.
What was Billboard saying was a top 40 hit in October of 95?
I can't. I googled the wrong thing. Billboard, October 1995. What was she most likely playing?
Water Runs
Fuck
Dry.
you, I'm not going to disable my...
Water...
It wants me to disable my ad blocker.
Oh, no,
Fuck
hold
you.
on. The Real American Top 40.fandom.com is provided me. Boys to Men, Water Runs Dry. Monica, Don't Take It Personal. Edwyn Collins, A Girl Like You. Soul for Real, Every Little Thing I Do, John B. featuring Babyface, Someone to Love, The Corrs, Runaway, Paula Abdul, Crazy Cool, Silverchair, Tomorrow. Among... Oh, wait, no, hold on. That's not it at all. What the fuck was that
Nope,
website?
I'm looking at the week of October 21st, 1995, Billboard Hot 100. Number one was Fantasy by Mariah Carey.
And then number two...
What's number two?
Gangsta's Paradise by Coolio. And then Runaway by Janet Jackson, Kiss from a Rose by Seal, You Are Not Alone by Michael Jackson, Only Want to Be With You, Hootie and the Blowfish, Waterfalls by TLC, As I Lay Me Down, Sophie Hawkins, Broken Hearted by Brandy, and Tell Me My Groove Therapy. So imagine, so she is sitting there, presumably being a little bit annoyed that she is listening to Gangsta's Paradise. You know, the dun 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 dun, like that.
Well, I mean, maybe the next one up was First of the Month by Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Oh my god.
That's low on the list, but it's on the list.
Oh my god, yeah, there's so Runaround by Blues Traveler.
Breakfast at Tiffany's by Deep Blue Something.
Oh no. Do you know what's at number 17?
Dude, this is
I
scrolled past it.
Number 17.
No.
Number 17.
I'm not giving that the honor.
Nobody told you life was gonna be this way. Sound of a train getting hit, the bus getting hit by a train. Because number 17 is I'll Be There For You by the Rembrandts. So I'll Be There For You.
What was that on? Why was that on the list then?
I don't.
When was the first episode of Friends?
No. God,
September 22nd, 94. What the fuck? Why is it there then?
I don't know.
That's a weird one.
Dun, 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 dun. You know, a friend of a coworker.
Welcome to tunes you listen to on the way to work.
Yeah, a coworker of mine actually put made a really dark joke I haven't been able to get out of my head when Matt Perry died, which is the Friends thing. But when they do the clapping, it's just Matt Perry drowning in his hot tub.
Oh, that's fucked up. God damn.
I can't get it out of my head anytime I listen to that. Nobody told you life was gonna be this way. Blah 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 blah. I can't. It's so wrong. It's so wrong.
Going to hell. We're going to hell.
Yes,
you're going to hell for making that joke. I'm going to hell for laughing.
But anyways, so yes, as Patricia Catenkamp was sitting there listening to Nobody Told You Life Was Going to Be This Way, clap, 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 the train horn had to compete with that noise.
Being blasted straight into her ear holes.
Being drastic, like either straight into her ear or right above her head. And then, best part of this is there's also a confirmation bias. Because she has looked and she has not seen the train. And the bus is almost 40 feet long. So the signals are like 30 feet behind her, going down on the roof of the bus. She has no idea what is happening. And then we get the screaming kids. The kids are screaming. That is not a clear indication of what is happening. Nobody...
Is there a kid drowning? Or is there somebody fucking at the back of the bus? Are we about to get hit by an asteroid? Who knows? The kids will scream about anything.
And then here's the worst part. The light... With everything that we've been talking about signal timing, the light went green 6 seconds before impact. If she had been sitting there, like one of those I'm late, but if I jump the light, I can make it, like impatient drivers. If she had been sitting there redlining the engine, doing like launch control with both feet, she could have cleared it. Minimum time the NTSB was able to come up with was 1.8 seconds to clear the crossing from a standing stop.
Is that accounting for reaction time as well?
No. That's why I said waiting impatiently. I am.
Okay.
I am.
That's just what it would physically take.
Yes. If she stood on the gas pedal and released the brake, as the photons from the green light hit her eyes, it would take 1.8 seconds for the bus to physically move far enough for the train to avoid it. And the reaction...
Those kids would never want another bus driver ever again if she did.
Yes, and the reaction time they figured out was 3 to 4 seconds. So...
Oh, yeah.
So she could have, with maybe 0.2
seconds.
0.2 seconds of clearance.
No.
If she was on it, if she was the most alert person in the world who didn't notice the train approaching, Mr. Magoo did, level of Mr. Magoo or $1 Million Baby levels of avoiding calamity by a hair's breadth. But the problem was that she was trying to diagnose why the kids were screaming. And so the reason why the kids were screaming hit her instead. So
that would have been a hell of a takeoff too, because it's an immediate turn after the crossing.
Oh yeah, no, she would have probably hit the chief of police for Fox River Grove.
Fucking flip the bus.
No, if she'd just gone straight, she would have just gone across the street and smashed into a building or the police chief. Which, by the way, I would like to say, just from a documentary perspective, it is unfortunate that dash cams are not a thing yet, because that cop's dash cam would be the most viral thing anyone's ever seen.
Ever.
Up there with that video of the lady getting creamed by the metro train. That, you know which one I'm talking about.
Oh God, that one? Oh my God.
That one was in every TV train crash documentary in the 90s and early 2000s. I know that because I have most of them on tape. Because
some poor foamer just wanted to get videos of the train.
It was the news, I think.
No.
Yeah, I think they were doing a news.
The one with the lady and her lawyer?
Yeah, I think it was the news. They were trying to get B-roll of metro trains or something. And just she walked past. But so that is so basically the bus had 6 seconds to getting back on track and ignoring the fact that the last thing these kids heard was the opening notes of the Friends theme was probably
God rest their souls.
God rest their souls. What was the last?
They didn't deserve that. They didn't deserve any of that.
What was the last thing that went through your head? The Pullman Standard logo.
Oh no! Fuck! Fuck me, dude. Should have gone with Bud. Bud don't break.
Well, I think if this had broken, we wouldn't be in this situation. But in any event,
the logo broke. The nameplate broke off. So
it may be. But in any event, that is basically the entire accident. In case you've forgotten, because we have been going around and around and around, the bus pulled up to the crossing. The pedestrian clearance scheme specifically sequence made it so that the bus had a very short period of time to clear before the actual train arrived, compounded by the resetting of the thumb wheel. And then on top of that, it was almost impossible for her to hear the train. And then by the time she was aware that anything was wrong, she was distracted to the point that the train hitting her was unstoppable.
Inevitable.
At that point. Inevitable. That's the word I was looking for. So it was impossible at that point to avoid it. This is like a textbook Swiss cheese model or Seconds from Disaster sort of thing, where these are the chains and the links that bring you to the final Seconds from Disaster. That whole thing. And just one final note. Additional tests conducted on the sound of the crossing gate bell determined it was inaudible to a person inside the bus at the driver's seat. So like really nothing. Absolutely nothing that you could do to stop this. You just sort of die at that point. And now we have to go to the next slide, which is, what did we learn? And the answer is
for this crossing,
we actually learned a lot. 29 total recommendations were made by the NTSB, most of which were followed in some way. The biggest one is that interconnected crossings are now actually interconnected. Communication between the local DOT and the railroad about crossing and light timings. Do not stop on track signs are more common. Transportation Joint School District 47/155 reduced the number of bus route railroad crossings from 70% to 10% by 1997.
Whoa. That's some serious reroutes.
Oh, yeah. Most school bus systems now actively plan for and avoid these sorts of crossings. And this is arguably the most influential school bus accident since 1938 in South Jordan. There have been school bus train accidents since, but most of those are instances where the driver directly and flagrantly disobeys a direct ruling. Like there was one in Georgia in 2000 or 2001 that I was reading about, where a bus driver just didn't stop at a rural unmarked crossing and got creamed by a CSX train. That is really not something that we can learn from. There's nothing to learn there. All the steps were in place and you just did not follow them.
And remember, there's a recommendation to eliminate these stops at crossings where it is possible to have them timed improperly.
Yes, absolutely. It is possible for them to be broken. It is possible for them to be out of service. It is possible, as we saw in Rescue 911, for there to be a freak accident with a runaway train. It's, and you can see, you'd think, and you can see right here, there is absolutely a do not stop on track sign at Fox River Grove. And more to the
day late, dollar short, dudes.
More to the point, I believe they actually moved a traffic light to the other side of the railroad crossing so that it's more difficult to stop with an overhang on there. And then the bottom photo. What was that?
I've also seen there's a crossing right by my house that it's a crossing and then an intersection immediately south of it, and it has a sign right before the crossing that tells you have this many feet. I think that location is like 26 feet from the stop line to the tracks behind you.
Yeah.
And that's a nice little warning.
I haven't seen any like that, but that's pretty nice. The bottom photo is also the signal cabinet, which is now, you can see, has big blue letters, traffic interconnect. They're like, we're not fucking around with this one, boys.
We've been there. We've done that. We're not doing it again.
So yeah, that is basically the Fox River Grove bus train collision. That is arguably the most influential road rail safety thing we've had since, because really anything that's happened since then is kind of retreading existing ground. I mean, look both ways when you cross. Don't. Operation Lifesaver is around more now, maybe, but social media has also made it a lot easier to sort of distribute that information. At this point, the only way that you get hit by a train is either there is a really terrible traffic engineering design, or if we go to the next slide, you deserve it.
You live in Florida.
Same
thing.
This is a video that I am going to probably have to play muted because it does feature copyrighted audio, but this is something that I made for a shitpost channel of mine. If you would like, which is set to an edit of the Daft Punk song Crescendolls. I've hit play, by the way, Zach. So
I'm watching.
But So basically, this is a bunch of different Brightline footage, and then you're gonna see why I have done this. If you want to watch it yourself, it's great because the song features elements of Pitbull's Fireball mixed in, and I timed it so whenever the train hits a car, it's when it sings Fireball. So,
Hell yes.
but so we can this is all a bunch of different footage from Brightline trains and from social media where and from the ghoulish news networks down in Miami who absolutely broadcasted this. Most of this is from news reports.
Yeah.
Where trained...
We could show this on TV, but not a boob.
Yes, not a boob. So a lot... And full disclosure, a lot of these are fatal accidents. A lot of these are fatal accidents. Some of them do appear to be maybe intentional on the part of the person doing it, so let's not go with deserving on those people. But the rest of them are just... They just blew through the crossing signal with... Just, they're not the first one. You have to know at this point.
No.
But...
It's been a thing for so long now. Let me see. Do you have it in here?
It actually does say deaths so far, yes, because the news agency gleefully included that in there. Not all of these are fatal accidents, though. I would like to say.
So oddly enough, there has been one Brightline collision that was absolutely not deserved by anybody directly involved with this, and I was kind of going through the reel here, and I don't see it. Did you see the video of that poor lady who stopped at a crossing and then just she stopped where she should have. She just kind of zoned out for a moment, waiting for a train to come by, and then got rear-ended by some dickhead, knocked onto the crossing, and before she could figure out what the fuck just happened, got hit by a train.
I did not. That sounds terrible. Oh yeah, here it says 64 deaths. But I did not hear about
just
that.
Watch that fucking mini get smacked, dude.
But I would like to say
get for supporting the Brits.
I made this video about 2 years ago, so this is all 2-year-old.
Oh, this is so out of date by now. It's way up higher.
Yeah. So to talk about exactly why Brightline is like this, we have to note that not only are people in Florida nuts, but Florida is this particularly bad for traffic. So my brother, who's the doctor, lives in Miami. I've been down there for his wedding. I've been down there a couple of times, and traffic is PvP enabled in a way that not even Dallas can come to. Because the thing is that no, seriously, because in most areas, there is another road. It might be a back road. It might be like a residential street with stop signs. It might suck. There is usually another road.
Usually.
In the Miami area, there is no other road. Wherever you are going, that is it. That is it. This used to be a farm track through mangrove fields or something, or whatever, and then they built housing developments on either side that you can't get out of because it's like the suburban hell sort of sprawl that everybody complains about. There is absolutely, like, there's the highway, there's Route A1A, and that's it. If you want to get anywhere to anywhere, it is down the road. So everybody is on this road. Everybody is going through there. It's Florida, so people are kind of crazy. I will also say...
Or they're extremely old and have really bad reaction times.
Yeah, that too. I will say, I hate Miami. I hate Miami so much. Miami is sort of like... If I were to assign, like personification, Miami is actively malicious. Like, hey, what if you did nothing wrong, but you died anyway today? As opposed to, like, a city like Las Vegas that is more toxic positivity. Where it'll gleefully encourage you to take self-care or gamble your house away in the exact same sort of...
sometimes simultaneously.
Exactly, but like Las Vegas is
Hey
more
man,
like
you've been sitting at the poker table for like 3 hours now. Why don't you get some water? We'll bring it to you though.
yeah. Yeah, like Las Vegas is more like that, but Miami is much more of like an ominous sort of I don't really give a shit about you specifically. Your apartment building is going to collapse in 10 minutes. So, have fun with that. That sort of thing. But with that, so obviously, driving is a PvP enabled sport. You are in traffic all the time. Licenses are handed out like Cracker Jacks. So the train impeding you, even for a moment, seems like an unsurmountable obstacle that you have to get around first. So obviously, that's part of it. Obviously, people drive crazy, so they might just think they can get around it. The other thing is that Miami does not have an institutional memory of railroads anymore, because obviously the Florida East Coast has terminated there for 100 years, but up until fairly recently, when Brightline was installed, the only thing through there was the branch line that went to the port of Miami, which was a single track, slow, doddering line that went like through the backwoods and through the backs of people's houses and everything. And also CSX was there too. Like one of my favorite things to see every once in a while is people who model industrial Miami in HO scale, because those are always such fun.
Oh my god.
Those are fun layouts to see because it's a switching thing, but it's also like it's also a bunch of street running and things, and you see like unusual sort of setups. But it's a very interesting thing. But all of this is slow plodding freight traffic that, because they don't even get through freights.
And it was for years.
Yeah, they don't even get through freights because everything's a terminus. So Brightline comes in with 100-mile-an-hour trains, and these trains are quiet and fast. So that's the first thing. People have not yet been able to calibrate their institutional memory of how long it takes to go for this train to reach you. Like everybody says, oh yeah, the train, you don't hear the train until you don't hear the train. That's what Operation Lifesaver always says. In Miami, you really don't. You really don't. It zips by you like a Tesla on speed. And that
I had a student not too long ago, and I was teaching him about a part of the yard we work in that is right up against a commuter rail main line, and main one through there is 70 miles an hour. And there's a point where we're walking up along our train, and we started getting close to the main, and I was like, all right, it's time for us to cross over, go on the other side. It's sunnier over there. It's going to be hot, and it sucks, but it's a lot safer. And he was asking why. And as I started to climb over, I looked and I saw in the distance there were headlights coming down. And I told him, stay right there. We were in a safe spot where he absolutely was not going to get hurt. And I said, stay there, keep looking at me. And I was on the opposite side of our train from him. And I said, I want you to look at me and tell me when you hear that train coming up. Like, I even gave him a warning that there was a train coming up. And he listened and listened and listened and didn't hear it until about 2.5 seconds before. And that is not a lot of time to react.
No, it's not. And there's other things like this. Something interesting that I noticed once, because I went for my brother's wedding, and one of my other brothers and I decided to walk around downtown Miami for a bit. When they put in Brightline, they basically severed every other street that the tracks crossed over to limit crossings. Which means,
my god.
Yeah, especially if
it could be worse.
Especially, well, no, here's the thing. That means that you've got a lot of pedestrians trying to cross on roads that they had been on before. And this is Miami. I saw shitloads of people listening to music on headphones and stuff, not paying the slightest bit of attention. So pedestrians get mowed down by this thing all the time because they're just trying to go from one side of the street to the other. And they don't see it, because they're not even looking, because they on their phone, or whatever you want to say about that, but they are actually on their phones. And so then they get creamed because the train is doing 70 miles an hour through downtown. And then here's something else that nobody tells you about, is that now that Brightline is in full operation, the FEC trains to Port Miami have to keep within the Brightline timetable. So I came around the corner one time when I was down there for my brother's wedding, and a GP38 running long hood forward with about 100 stack cars was doing 55 miles an hour through downtown Miami.
Oh my god.
One GP38 too. So that thing was not slow.
Oh, that thing had to be screaming.
It absolutely was. I think if it had been an actual Brightline train, I would not have gotten to a place where I could see it, because it was not doing like 70 miles an hour, but it definitely wasn't sticking around. So I'm willing to bet that those have got.
Well, they got to keep up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm willing to bet that those have creamed some people too, but they're not on the list. But Brightline is an exception. Brightline is sort of like this thing where it's like you can legislate and away all of these things, like don't stop on the railroad crossings, follow the flashing lights. But if you don't, and so part of this is stupid. Part of this is stupid because people obviously could just obey the signs and they wouldn't get hit by a fucking train. But even when, obviously, you idiot-proof something, they'll just build the better idiot. But
yes,
to a degree, you have to give everyone a chance, and a lot of the traffic engineering in South Florida is terrible. Like
bad.
Like
bad,
one
bad.
of them, Brightline crosses through a T intersection at a 45-degree angle, or something like that.
I've seen that. It's ugly. It's scary.
It's so horrifying. It looks like a deformed crucifix. But that's sort of like, and this is stuff that happens all over the country. Like I'm focusing on Miami because everybody talks about Brightline as being the most dangerous railway in the country. And
it is just not for the reason that most people think.
Yeah, it is. And I'm sure, like, do you have any examples from your time? But Did You Die is usually your section. Do you have anything that like you've dealt with driving for DART and insert railway name here?
So actually, most where I got crofting incidents per se was actually running streetcars. We infamously opened a brand new section of track in May of 2015, and this was not the first time streetcars had been in downtown Dallas, but it was the first time they had been in downtown Dallas in, oh my god, almost 70 years. So we got a rash of incidents of people not expecting or looking for streetcars at a higher rate than we did anywhere else on the line. Because everywhere else on the line, there'd been traffic for at least 25 years at that point. That was enough to set in the institutional knowledge. But that new loop that opened in 2015, I got the very first accident on the new loop, and it was a guy pulling out of a parking garage, ignored a big flashing sign that was activated by the approach of streetcars that said, look, watch for streetcars, and just pulled out right in front of me. He had stopped in the driveway, not on the tracks, was talking to somebody. It was one of his coworkers, because it was a valet driver, finished his conversation, didn't look, and just pulled right out in front of me, and I smacked him. And that repeated time and time again, especially around the exits of parking garages, because nobody knew to look there. It was such a new and unexpected thing that they couldn't, the construction that had been going on for almost 2 years beforehand wasn't enough warning somehow that they need to start rethinking this.
Yeah, people are just funny like that. Like, in comparison, where I live, actually the Norfolk Southern Chicago line has been there for so long that it actually does not appear on the county surveyor's maps, like for taxing purposes. Like, the land plats just don't exist on their website.
Ooh.
Because they have probably outlived the county surveyor's office.
Yeah.
So, like, because like the Norfolk and Western Yard that used to be that is on there, but the former New York Central line is not. Like, there's just gaps.
Well, that's wild.
Because it's been there since the 1840s. So every like year or so, every I don't know, 6 to 8 months, there might, obviously somebody like, we have a couple bad intersections where like somebody might get stuck on the tracks, but people getting hit by the train for non ending one's life reasons is usually once a year, if that. And like things like that, like people once, like after a while, people just start to internalize that, this is a thing that happens. Like I've lived in my small town for almost 20 years, and I can't say I've ever heard of someone getting hit by a train coming through town. And admittedly, it's a regional carrier that operates at like a maximum of 30 through town, but even still, nothing. You don't. It just doesn't happen because everybody knows about it. It's one of these things where, and again, those tracks have been there since the 1800s.
Yes.
So,
Even the BNSF Transcon runs right through the middle of downtown Flagstaff, and to their credit, despite having probably 40 trains a day running through there on a double track main, the people of Flagstaff are actually pretty good about not getting hit by a train, but it's because the city grew up around the tracks.
Oh yeah, that's the same with
and adding one more track wasn't anything unusual. It just meant more trains. Do people still get hit? Yeah, but it's not. We're not talking Brightline levels. Which, by the way, I looked. You mentioned your numbers being outdated because that video is a couple years old. I'm looking at a video from ABC 25 WPBF News in Palm Beach, and it cites that the Federal Railroad Administration reported 41 people were killed by Brightline in 2024 alone.
Oh
so
my
that is
God.
on top of the 64 from your video that's a couple years old, and anything in between and since then.
Yeah. So it's just, I don't know how. There's no easy way to fix it, because actually no, there is. Okay, easy in quotation marks with an asterisk is grade separate the whole thing, but
yes,
grade separating the whole of Brightline is definitely on the does it get built, does it not get built spectrum. Like,
yes,
Texas HSR wants to grade separate everything. Texas HSR, I will be surprised if they successfully complete it, because they're grade separating everything.
I'm not holding my breath.
Brightline,
I'm not holding my breath.
Brightline, for all that it kills people and all that it seemed like baby's first high-speed rail, is just throwing down track left, right, and center, and they are running trains day in, day out. They have gone to Orlando. They are like unfortunately, in not just in like the terms of basic money, and like even for people who are like, everything should be nationalized. British Rail didn't do that either. British Rail didn't. Neither did.
No.
Like the first grade separated lines were like the Shinkansen and then a bunch of the French like LGV things. But a shitload of stuff is still built at ground level, because sometimes, even if you're doing this at a national level, the political will is a lot easier if you're not having to build a 50-mile-long viaduct through the center of of every town on the way.
That will piss off a lot of people. Everybody's worried about their view and their property value and whatnot.
And just the added expense. Like, it's $1 million a mile or more on the ground. Now put it 20 feet in the air.
Buddy, I hope they have a real good sugar daddy for that one.
Well, California just lost theirs, so I imagine that the Onion's headline from 2008, California high-speed rail to be replaced by California high-speed bus service, is
that's probably going to become real.
Yeah, it is from 2008, because it was a video. The next one was about they were talking about Obama taking office or something. But yeah, so what? This isn't a traditional "but did you die?" he said in the third episode, but there definitely is there's no easy way to fix level crossings, but you know, and before you say ban cars, people on foot still have to cross the tracks. People on foot still do that all the time, even if you don't place a crossing. Where I live, there is.
They will.
Oh,
They will make a route.
This is. Oh, you'll love this. Conrail's had a yard in Sandusky when it was like a transfer point between Conrail and Norfolk and Western, and it is 9 tracks across plus the 2 running lines, and it doesn't see a lot of use now. It also is about a 2-mile stretch from the nearest crossing to the next crossing. People will walk off the platform of the Amtrak station and cross 11 tracks hauling
like rolling baggage or something.
No, this is locals. This is locals.
Oh shit! Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah,
they should know better.
Well, here's the thing. I'm out there train watching all the time. I have never seen one of them get hit or even come close to getting hit. They watch. They check. Granted, Norfolk Southern doesn't come. Okay. Granted, Norfolk Southern comes through with irritating infrequency, but it still is 30 or 40 trains a day. They just don't get hit.
The institutional knowledge can be formed in different ways, and it can be formed in better and worse ways, but what's up with Florida?
I don't know.
There's a lot. That's a loaded question. I'll admit that now.
I wonder if I wonder if what we are seeing with Brightline was last really observed in like the 1870s.
Oh man, when like a train was coming, a line was being built for like the first time.
When like the train was new.
Yeah.
Because like think about it, like the last time that a major railroad thing was built in the U.S. was the Powder River Basin lines, right? Am I or like?
Yeah, it seems about right. Yeah.
I don't think the cows in Wyoming really care too much about trains.
Nope.
As opposed to as opposed to building through like a dedicated downtown core. Or actually, no, Miami.
I can attest that the cows don't care about the trains.
I think Miami actually counts as like a megalopolis because it's Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton, all of those. So, it's an interesting thing. It's just it happens all the time, and we don't have a way of stopping it until people just learn.
I think what it boils down to is greed. Everybody thinks that their time is more important than everybody else's. And that logic goes down to a lot of these people who run the crossings. You don't want to wait 30 or 40 seconds for a short little Brightline train to blow by at 70 miles an hour. I'm going to gun it and make it right now so I don't have to wait that I don't have to wait for that next light at the next intersection or something.
I think just being in Florida traffic must make you insane. Like
it did for me.
It has to, because imagine like for those of you who've never been to sunny Miami, imagine the worst traffic jam you have ever been in. That's still moving. Now imagine that every other car is driven by either a GTA 6 character or someone who is 9 million years old. That is Miami traffic. To give you an idea, I went down for my brother's bachelor party, and he lives in South Beach. He lives in Miami Beach, the city of Miami Beach. I booked the hotel for the city of Aventura at 3:00 in the morning. Why is that important? Because at 3:00 in the morning, Miami Beach and Aventura are 15 minutes away from each other. At midday, Aventura and Miami are 48 minutes apart from each other.
Hell yeah. Get that traffic.
So what happened?
You know what would probably fix it, though? One more lane.
Or one more train. Extend the people mover to Aventura, you cowards. Because when I went, there actually wasn't a station in Aventura. They were just clearing the land for it. They've built one there now. So we could, in fact, get one more train.
Maybe. Hopefully.
Although one more lane, I think they'd at that point have to start demolishing houses. Because
that's never stopped them before.
No, it hasn't, but they're like already 10 or 12 lanes across. It's nuts. There's only the one freeway. It's so bad.
Jesus Christ.
No, seriously, imagine if Dallas was just a linear city.
Might be an improvement. I don't know.
Well, no, but it's also very wide. It's not like the line. It's just a linear city with like a highway going down sort of one side.
Yeah, that sounds like shit.
Yeah, don't go to Florida. Don't live in Florida.
You can keep that.
If you have to go to a fake city created to appease man's hubris, go to Las Vegas. Although, actually, I went to Las Vegas recently. It's very expensive now. It's like unpleasant.
It's ridiculous.
It's unpleasantly so. If you want to go to a fake city that is a monument to man's hubris, go to Dallas.
Hey, what the fuck? Okay, don't go to Fort Worth. At least there's some touristy things to do there.
Go to
Dallas lost its last real touristy thing when we took out the artificial whitewater rapids that killed a couple people.
The what? Excuse me?
Yeah, that was a thing. I'd have to look up the details again, but I'm pretty sure it was a city councilman went on vacation somewhere and saw whitewater rapids, or maybe somebody had done artificially made whitewater rapids correctly and was like, we could do this in Dallas, and they made them, and they were terrible. They were super dangerous and deadly, and it killed a couple of people until they finally went in and dynamited the fucking things that the big slabs of concrete they just kind of slapped in the middle of the river and destroyed it.
That's incredible. And I think I think that is legitimately incredible. But do you know what else? Have you looked at how long our timer has been going for since we started recording?
I looked a while ago and it was already bad. Oh, that one hurts.
2 hours and 42 minutes.
Oh yeah.
So
content, baby.
Hashtag content has been hashtag created. Do we have anything for the end? We want to hear your nonsense public transit stories. Did a GTA 6 character try to interact with you on the Miami Metro Mover? Please actually, no, don't tell us that. Tell us if the Miami Metro Mover almost crashed. Or something like that.
I want to hear that one.
Yeah.
I want to hear that one. But God damn it, don't just wait a few moments for the train to go by. Even if you make it just barely, you're still going to give the guys in the cab a fucking heart attack, and it sucks every time. I age like an extra year or two for every close call that I've had, and I've lost count on how many close calls I've had.
Yeah, don't age your train crews unless you are a psychopath, at which point we can't stop you. But yes, if
it's
you
only so much.
If you would like to not age us, please tell us the story of when you had someone have some when something happened to you on public transport that definitely should have been an NTSB report but wasn't by the skin of its own teeth.
Oh, I like that.
Yes,
I like that.
Send that to us at SYDDOYWTW@gmail.com because I didn't make the email address. I would like that to be made abundantly clear.
Oh, hush. I made something because you were talking about how we don't have an email address, so I was drinky and I slapped it together for us.
Yes.
We made it work.
Yes. So at the 2-hour 43-minute mark, I think it's time to wrap things up. We will be back.
I suppose. We
will be back next time with an individual study episode where I get to make something about a topic that I wanted to, and then, which is just every episode, but also Zach doesn't know what it is, and then Zach gets to make one that only he knows about, and I get to see it. So
I've got a good one coming up. We might have to reverse roles for one, but I've got one that's near and dear to my heart, and spoiler alert, I had to go over the site every night for years on end, and my butthole puckered a little bit every single time I did.
Wow. Yeah, mine's about monorails and also Elon's hole in the ground in Las Vegas. So that
Dude, fuck yes, give it to me.
Oh, so that's next time. That's next time. How the Las Vegas monorail doesn't kill you, but it might someday, or it won't.
Maybe someday.
But yeah,
thank you all so much for listening. We shall see you next time and talk your ears off once more.
Thank you for the one person who's still here. We love you. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'm gonna hit stop now. Goodbye.
Bye.